What's up, everyone? Thanks for joining in for today's weekly recap. So I'm going to quickly cover my week's trades, and we're going to look at have a closer look at my stats and how I've performed this week. Of course, as you know, this week was a very quiet week, but let's not waste any time and let's just jump on the screen share very quickly. So look at the trading view dashboard here. So I've selected the date range for last week, and this is my results for the week. Let me just make sure you can see that. All right, so Friday was a no trade day, so I've got 3 green days out of the 4 days that I traded. Wednesday should have been a no trade day, but overall not a bad week at all. But let's have a quick closer look at the stats altogether and see where I stand for this past week. And I will do a further reflection like I usually do if you're used to the channel and you've seen my previous recaps. So my number of winning trades, or my accuracy, was at 66.7%, and my average profit to loss ratio was 1.5 to 1. So that means that if for every dollar that I risk, I make $1.50. But in this case, because the gains were and losses were under $1, my average winning trade was 36 cents and 25 cents on the losing side. And if you're aware, we're not really looking at the P&L, but although we are looking at the overall stats and how I can maintain these levels of accuracy and profit to loss ratio. I only took 9 trades, so yeah, it's not a bad week. I mean, it's the numbers were quite low. As you can see, it was a very quiet week. But let's just have a closer look at the week itself and in accuracies on each of those days. So on Monday, I only took 3 trades, and I had an accuracy of 66%, only 1 losing trade. But as you can see, I was only taking 5 share positions. Again, this is my quarter size. I emphasize that I'm trying. The idea is that you scale up, and you eventually, as you increase your share size, you sort of say, okay, this is my let's say 1,000 is my maximum share position. Half of that is 500, and a quarter of that is 250. So on a riskier trades or beginning of the day where I'm trying to just get a sense of the market and trying to get on something that's moving, I'm forcing myself, or I'm taking the approach of taking quarter size position, or even sometimes smaller. In this case, 5 is very small anyway. There's just no point going in anything smaller than that. But that's the idea behind it. So I've been trading with quarter share size all of last week. And I guess in a way, it's not bad because it stopped me from getting into trouble, and it's kept the share sizes, the losses quite small. On Tuesday, I only took 1 trade, and that was just 5 shares in and out. Managed to capture 25 cents. That was it 25 cents? Oh no, sorry. It was 25 cents, but I'm just trying to find out how much per share that I managed to actually capture. So I only managed to capture 5 cents per share. So it's not a great profit to loss ratio, but it was only 1 trade. And on Wednesday, so this was an interesting day. It was a 50% accuracy. This first trade, it was just a mistake. I, again, pressed the button by mistake, and it should have been a no trade day. So yeah, it wasn't great, because it sort of, I was like, I was a bit annoyed that I was going to be red on this day. I was like, let me see if I can get back to green, because I didn't want it to affect my stats. But on hindsight, I should have just kept it as that, because that meant I would have paid less commission. And I would have not put myself at risk, given that it should have been a no trade day and it was going to be a quiet day anyway. So this last week, I should have had 2 no trade days. As you may be aware, that the previous week I had 3 no trade days. Not big due to lack of me trying or showing up. It's just that the market didn't give me good enough opportunities. and it's been very quiet. So I suspect that will continue to trend in a similar way until we see a shift. It might just be that the next couple of months are going to be very quiet, but that's perfectly fine with me because my focus is just right, getting my stats right, getting hone on the little issues that I've got and hone on the little skills that I've been building up and just practice those. And this is the perfect environment to practice those because you need patience to be able to do that. Now, if you're still interested to stick around and watch the rest of it, here I'll dive a bit deeper into my stats and my overall general sense of how I felt this week went. So as you know, I had 9 trades. I took 9 trades, 66% accuracy or 67% accuracy. Profit to loss ratio of 1.1 to 1, which meant that for every dollar I risked, I was making $1.50. Technically, that would have been the case based on the stats. Of course, I was making less than $1 with the share sizes I was taking. So I break it down into 4 areas. Normally, when I do a retrospective of my week, I look at what I liked, what I learned, lacked, and longed for. And it may apply some weeks and some weeks it may not, but there's something interesting that I want to talk about at the end, but let's just dive into these very quickly. So if you do stick around, you'll get to see the comparison between the previous weeks. So what did I like this week? So I had patience. That was really great. I had a good accuracy, one of my highest accuracy weeks over the past 8 weeks or so that I've been recording my progress in this manner. And of course, I take far less trades than I have in any other week. So it's a lot easier to get that accuracy, but that also speaks volumes in terms of the discipline and patience that I showed, because you don't need to necessarily be taking hundreds of trades a week in order to be profitable or for the strategy to work for you. So discipline was the other area. So I was very disciplined. I had a no trade day and I kept my share sizes very small. And I was fully recognizing that what the market was telling me was a cold market. I just couldn't have pushed for the strategy that I'm trading. And, the tools that I have at my disposal allow me to analyze technically what is happening and get a broad understanding and a picture of what the day is going to have in stock for me. So really great week in that sense. It was very slow, but for me personally, in terms of progress, it was a very great week. What did I learn this week? So the importance of patience. I mean, it just goes to show being patient really helps you build up your stats, builds up your discipline, and gets you out of trouble and helps you capitalize on any opportunity that comes along. You just need to be patient and wait for the right opportunity to come up. And an example of that is I only decided to trade stock that's got a catalyst. So breaking news, something fresh that's allowing the momentum to come in and for me to ride that momentum. But previously I have been taking other setups like continuation setups and reversals, etc. But I decided that even though I may see those in the market on a daily basis, I'm not going to take those setups because I want to just focus on one area and just nail that bit down, right? And then that allowed me to build on top of a base a foundation that I've laid. And that's very important. And that's allowed me to just strip away all the noise and just become very super focused. And I wish I'd done it a lot sooner. And it's taken me this quite a while to get to this point of understanding this, but it's good. It's progress, in comparison to this, how I've been doing overall this year from the beginning of the year. Well, technically from February onwards. It's just a full circle in terms of where I started, in terms of my strategy and where I'm going and the direction I'm heading to overall. All right. What did I lack? Usually you'll see from the end, I'll quickly do a brief overview. I normally talk about lack of patience or lack of discipline, and it's just amazing just not having to been able to think of anything that I lacked this week. I think I just need to build on what I've been building last week going forward, and I think I'll be in a healthy place. Of course, there's always going to be areas that I need to focus on, but the fact that I didn't feel like I lacked anything this week. I think it's a big positive news. It's definitely a big step forward. And what did I long for? There wasn't anything that I longed for. I mean, like I can long for momentum and other things, but these are out of my control. And generally speaking, the things I long for are normally patience, discipline, and understanding of the market. And I feel like I really demonstrated that really well this week. So, what are the action items for next week? I've sort of left this blank because I wanted to talk about it a bit more freestyle or freehand. The action items for next week is just to continue the way I've been doing over the past few weeks, and the focus will be on again having the mindset of before taking a trade. Firstly, does it meet all the criteria of stock selection, and it is definitely fits within the strategy I'm trading. But furthermore, I imagine that I'm taking a bigger position, and I ask myself, am I willing to risk a bigger position with a bigger cost on this trade? And if the answer is no, then I don't take that trade, right? Even though I'm only taking small share size, because then that will hopefully help me going forward as I increase my share size, avoid taking any unnecessary risk. So similar approach to this past week going forward. And I think, I'm really excited in terms of where my stats are. But what is interesting is what I wanted to really talk about now that we've covered this is the 7th week, but technically the 8th week of me doing these types of reviews. I missed the weekend because I only traded 2 days and I was off the rest of that week. So there wasn't anything for me to much to recap on. So I bundled up in the following week's recap. But what was interesting for me is when I zoom out and look at the previous weeks, and for instance, look at the action items for one of these weeks, which was in a Sunday, the 12th of October, I believe. Focus on accuracy. Holding winners longer. I mean, we're not in that sort of market where we can hold things longer right now. But anyway, profit to loss ratio. So these are some of the action items that I've been bringing forward every week. I've been trying to work on, and the fact that I'm seeing progress in this way where I can I've documented and I'm like, yes, I'm looking back and every week I've chipped away and I've made incremental progress to the point where we are in a very cold market right now. And we have someone like Ross, who I learned from in terms of following his strategy. He's also struggling, but I'm making similar decisions to him in terms of when to not take a trade. And perhaps some of the stocks that I trade tend to be similar to his. It gives me confidence and it gives me motivation that I'm moving in the right direction. And the mere fact that I've been able to document and demonstrate that through these, very simple sticky note process, it's just evidence of your progress. So when you do feel deflated, sometimes you can look back at this and be like, yes, you know what? This is where I was and this is where I am now. And for me, that's a big, huge step forward. So I've definitely made progress. And it's a really like a balancing act. And I need to just be aware of it and not let any of these skills and qualities that I've accumulated slip away on very small impulsive decision making. And that's obviously the key here. So all in all, a really good week in terms of stats. Of course, when the market is hot, you tend to take more trades. So you could end up with a better profit to loss ratio, but your accuracy might get affected slightly. But the focus will still be the same regardless of what the market is. Ultimately, the stats I've just shown this week are the winning stats, are the types of stats that if I can scale and build on, those are the stats that will make me profitable, and it will allow me to increase my share size, and therefore it will directly impact my profits overall. But the key thing here for me, or the key takeaway, is, if anything, the shift in mindset of just focusing on quality setups and the overall stats has really helped me move past the whole profit to loss ratio aspect of daily trades or weekly, my overall weekly standing. So yeah, that's the end of that recap. I hope you enjoyed that. So it's big milestone for me, and looking forward to see what next week holds and has got for us in terms of the market movement and whatever. I mean, we'll see what fresh news comes in next week. But I suspect that we'll continue in a similar fashion. Maybe we'll have one or two stocks that might make a move, and I might be able to capture an opportunity here and there. But I'd still be probably trading with small size with those initial trades. And if that's all we might get, that's fine. I'm just limiting my risk at the moment and focusing on getting in those right trades. But anyway, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you all on Monday.